If a pilot leaves Los Angeles for New York City and shifts the plane's nose just 3.5 degrees to the south, they won't end up in New York. They'll end up in Washington, D.C. At the start, the shift is invisible. By the end, the destination is entirely different. Most people think that becoming wealthy requires a massive win, a lottery ticket, a viral startup, or a lucky crypto moonshot. But the truth is much more boring and much more powerful. It's called the 1% rule. In finance, the 1% rule isn't about working 100% harder. It's about getting 1% better at managing your money every single day. Today, I'm going to show you the math behind why 1% is the most dangerous number in finance, and how you can use it to build a fortress of wealth, starting with the change in your pocket. Part 1. Why 1% is actually huge. Let's look at the math. If you improve your financial habits by just 1% every day for a year, you don't end up 3.6 times better. Because of the power of compounding, you end up 37 times better by the end of the year. Conversely, if you get 1% worse, a little more debt, a little more lifestyle creep, you nearly decline to zero. In finance, this 1% applies to 3 pillars: 1% more savings, 1% less spending, and 1% better returns. If you can move the needle by just 1% in these areas, you aren't just saving money, you're changing your genetic financial code. Part 2. Turning big dreams into small steps. Most financial advice fails because it's too big. Save $1 million. Buy a house. These aren't plans, they are dreams. And dreams without systems lead to procrastination. The 1% rule isn't about interest rates today, it's about execution velocity. It's the commitment to move the needle by exactly one measurable step every single week. If you aren't tracking your 1% shifts, you aren't managing your money. You're just watching it happen to you. Today, I'm giving you the weekly 1% system to bridge the gap between where you are and your ultimate financial target. You cannot get 1% closer to a destination you haven't mapped. Step 0 is defining your financial North Star. But here is the professional twist. Don't just set one goal, set 3 horizons. The foundation, which is your debt or emergency fund. The growth, which is your investments and portfolio. And the lifestyle, which is the house or the dream project. Write down the definition of done for each. Now, 1% isn't a vague feeling. It is a micro milestone. If your goal is $10,000, your 1% unit is $100. If your goal is to start a side hustle, your 1% unit is 1 completed task. Now the mountain is just 100 steps. Part 3. The invisible way to save more. Most people fail at budgeting because they try to jump from saving 0% to saving 20% of their income overnight. It's too painful. You feel the sting of the loss. The 1% rule suggests a silent increase. This month, take your savings rate and increase it by exactly 1%. If you earn $5,000 a month, that is $50. You won't feel $50 missing. Your brain will adapt to $4,950 almost instantly. But here is the trick. Set an automated increase. Many banking apps and 401k providers allow you to auto-escalate. You set it to increase by 1% every 6 months. Within 3 years, you are saving 6% more than you were before, without ever having to make a big sacrifice. This is the aggregation of marginal gains. You aren't finding $500 today. You are finding $50 today and another $50 in 6 months. Part 4. Cutting costs without cutting joy. We often hear the latte factor. Stop buying coffee and you'll be a millionaire. That is a myth. Stopping coffee won't make you rich, but the discipline behind the 1% rule will. Instead of cutting out joy, look for 1% efficiency gains in your fixed costs. Negotiation. When was the last time you called your internet provider or insurance company? A 10-minute call to lower a bill by 1% to 5% is a permanent win that compounds every month. Also, use the 1% impulse buffer. Before any purchase, ask, is this 1% of my annual income? If it is, wait 24 hours. Remember, money you don't spend is the only money that has a 100% tax-free return. If you reduce your expenses by 1% while your income stays the same, that gap, the margin, is where your wealth is born. Part 5. How to raise your own salary. Most people focus only on cutting costs, but there is a limit to how much you can save. You can't save more than 100% of your income. However, there is no limit to how much you can earn. The 1% rule for income isn't about getting a second full-time job. It's about the 1% skill shift. First, the 15-minute learning habit. Spend just 1% of your day, that's exactly 14 minutes and 24 seconds, learning a high-value skill. Coding, copywriting, data analysis, or even mastering AI tools. In a year, those 15 minutes compound into a professional-grade expertise that can command a 20% or 30% raise. Second, the 1% networking rule. Reach out to one person in your industry every week. Not every day, just once a week. By the end of the year, you have 52 new connections. Statistically, one of those connections will lead to an opportunity that increases your income by more than 1%. Third, the +1 project. If you are an employee, look for one task outside your job description that adds value to the company's bottom line. If you are a freelancer, offer one additional add-on service to every client. This 1% extra effort often results in being first in line for promotions or high-ticket referrals. Part 6. Finding your secret 1% edge. This is where the 1% rule becomes a monster. Let's talk about fees and returns. If you invest $100,000 over 30 years with a 7% return, you end up with about $761,000. If you improve that return by just 1% to 8%, you end up with over $1 million. That tiny 1% difference, which seems insignificant in the short term, resulted in a $240,000 difference in the long term. How do you get that 1%? Look at your expense ratios. If your fund charges 1.5% and a low-cost index fund charges 0.05%, you just won nearly 1.5% in returns instantly. Rebalancing your portfolio once a year can often add that 1% edge by selling high and buying low automatically. Taxes also matter. Using tax-advantaged accounts like an IRA or ISA is essentially a 1% boost to your net return. Part 7. Your weekly 1% checklist. Every Monday, ask yourself one question. What is my 1% move this week? This is a non-negotiable action. It's not thinking about money, it's doing money. Week 1. Negotiate one recurring bill or spend 2 hours upskilling. Week 2. Set up an automatic transfer of just $20 to your brokerage account. Week 3. Audit your last 30 days of spending and kill one zombie subscription. Week 4. Read 20 pages of a tax strategy book. These aren't life-changing on their own, but when you stack 52 1% moves in a year, you haven't just saved money, you've built a financial engine that works while you sleep. What gets measured gets managed. If you don't look at your numbers, you are flying a plane in the fog. Professional wealth management requires a Sunday financial audit. Take 15 minutes every Sunday to check your net worth tracking. Did it go up or down, and why? Check your target alignment. How many 1% steps did I take this week toward my 3 horizons? And perform a leak check. Is there any lifestyle creep trying to steal my progress? Monitoring isn't about judging yourself, it's about data. When you see the progress bar for your house fund move from 12% to 13%, your brain releases dopamine. You stop fighting your finances and start enjoying the game of wealth building. Part 8. Don't quit too early. The reason most people quit the 1% rule is what James Clear calls the valley of disappointment. When you save that extra 1%, nothing happens. Your bank account looks the same. Your friends are still driving better cars. You feel like you're sacrificing for no reason. But wealth is a lagging measure of your habits. Your net worth today is a lagging measure of your financial habits from 2 years ago. The 1% rule requires faith in the math. You have to trust that the 1.01 exponent is working under the surface. It's like bamboo. It grows underground for 4 years, building a massive root system, and then in the 5th year, it shoots up 80 feet in 6 weeks. Part 9. What's your 1% move today? So here is your challenge for today. Don't try to revolutionize your life. Don't try to save $10,000 by Friday. Just find your 1%. Call one service provider to lower a bill. Increase your automated savings by 1%. Or spend 15 minutes reading a book about index funds to increase your financial literacy by 1%. If you do that today, you've already won. Because a year from now, you'll be 37 times further ahead than the person who decided to wait for a big break. Stop looking at the summit. Look at the next 1%. What is your move for this week? Write it in the comments, commit to it, and let's get to work. Remember, small changes, big results. I'll see you in the next one.